Well, ladies and gentlemen, if you can hear my voice and if you can see my face, then that means we are back together for another Monday night, and it is time for Firepitt. I am so beyond thrilled to have you guys here with us tonight. As always, my name is Megan Pennington, and with me is my best friend, Jim Skiff. Jim, how you doing, babe?
I'm doing great, Megan. So nice to be back here with you. I had a great week. We had a wonderful memorial open mic for Jazzy Muse Terwilliger at Antonio's on Saturday. We had people like Fat Man D and Tommy Amoeba from Amoeba Knievel on our stage performing in Jazzy's memory. A lot of people remembering great things that she said and did with them. And I had Fat Man D come up, perform with me for Will the Circle Be Unbroken. We had everybody singing at the end. It was really, really a moving tribute and a great send off to a wonderful performer. I'm kind of still recovering from that a little bit, but we have a very special guest with us this evening. Poster Child is a melody and song-driven indie jangle pop band from post-industrial Pittsburgh, PA, drawing influences from the Strokes to Spoon to Jeff Buckley and Wilco. Poster Child embodies the refreshing classic indie band ingredients that sets heartfelt music apart from the too often barren modern pop and rock music soundscape. The band consists of Seamus Quigley on guitar, Cassie Prentice drums and vocals, Gabe Escalante bass, and Vanessa Prentice on guitar, and of course features songwriter and lead vocalist frontman, Mr. Gibson Musiska. And he leads this young quartet. I think you guys they're all like teenagers, I think, Megan, through post-production on their newly released debut album, Vengeance Says. And I had the opportunity to hear Gibson and Cassie at 565 Alive. We did a benefit show over there for the victims of the New Orleans terror incident and also the victims of the California wildfires. I got to share the stage with these guys, and I got to tell you, I was really impressed with their harmonies, with the wonderful songwriting that Gibson is displaying, and they did like a killer cover of Bob Dylan and Joan Baez, It Ain't Me, Babe. I'll tell you, it was really a blast to hear them perform. And I'm really glad to have Gibson on the show with us. How are you doing this evening, Gibson?
Hey, Jim. Hey, Megan. I'm really glad to be on here. I'm really glad that you enjoyed the show and all that. I got to update our website, actually. We have different people since that was written. But
well, straighten us up, please.
Yeah, so now, Cassie's been our drummer for 2 years or so, and she stepped down from it because, she got busy with school and music took on a different spot in her life. And now we have our good friend Aaron Kibler. He's from this band 957. They're around our age. Cassie still is closely associated. She does all our visuals. So she does, any printouts. She helps with merchandise. And of course, she comes and sings with me in the duet form, which is special. But
well, I noticed that when you were at that show, you guys had recently seen Complete Unknown, the Bob Dylan biopic, and I had recently seen it. Well, and one of the things you remarked on was that what a great songwriter, and you said something like, "I want to write songs like that." I just wonder, have any new tunes come out since then that are maybe inspired a little bit by Mr. Dylan?
They certainly have. Yeah. A lot of the stuff I played that night was pre-seeing that movie. I came up on all the classics thanks in large part to my mom and my dad. They did all the classic writers for me, and Bob Dylan was a big part of my life. My dad really tried to push him on me. And I never really got it. It wasn't, I liked, I think The Ballad of the Thin Man was my favorite song when I was a kid. I liked that drama he had going on. I never connected with it in a way until I started living on my own in the past year or so. And I kind of rediscovered Dylan, and it struck me in a different way. You know what I mean? It's like, it's speaking to a part of America that I wasn't a part of at the time, I think. And so a lot of my recent stuff has been inspired by his approach to lyric writing, particularly. And I've gotten more in touch with acoustic music in large part through also Ryan Adams. I've been listening to a lot of Ryan Adams recently, and he has cool albums and stuff like that. But the way Dylan does his words, it's so exciting. Like a lot of music, you know exactly what they're gonna say, you know exactly what's gonna happen. It's there's a lot of filler, but when Bob starts talking, the things he's saying they make you want to know more every line, and the story it's engaging, it's storytelling. And so I've been trying to integrate more storytelling into my songs, and like I said, earlier we were talking, I try to write new music almost every day, and so I've been taking to the acoustic guitar more than I have in the past. It's really connected with me recently.
Well, you've been writing songs for what, about 10 years now? You started at an early point in your life. Did you originally write on the guitar? How did your process begin?
I started on the guitar, and what happened that was special. I was maybe, let's say I was 12 when I started my game. Is my mom is a songwriter. She had me taking lessons for guitar, and I liked it, but I was a kid and she had to tell me to practice 30 minutes every day. And I was like, oh, come on, I'm trying to play my video games. I'm trying to do whatever, you know what I mean? And I didn't like doing it. I didn't have fun. But there was a day where I crossed a threshold, and suddenly it became an hour every day. Then it became an hour and a half. Then it became 2 hours, and it became an obsession. It was the only thing I wanted to do, and I loved singing since I was little, and those two things go hand in hand. I started doing a thing where I was just, I was writing really rudimentary stuff, and then she introduced to me on my computer GarageBand, and that changed the game for me. Layering. Immediately, I started making my drum tracks, my bass parts, and I always had a guitar on each side, vocals right down the middle, bass, you know what I mean? I started building myself around these songs, and that became my songwriting center, was the computer. I would sit and just let whatever came to mind happen, and I would build sequences, and I started learning how to play the piano, and then I wrote a lot of my music on piano for a year or so, and I tried all these things out, and I have a very special, here, let me grab it. I have a special instrument to me that I got later in my process, and this was after 2020, where I fully went into, this is a baritone guitar. It falls between, your standard tuning and a bass guitar. And so I was able to play bass parts and lead parts and chords, all of it. I could do all of it off of this, and this became my songwriting machine for the past 5 years or so. It was my center. It's in B standard instead of E standard, and that was also a gift from my mom. It's really thanks to her that I have the drive that I've found to do it, to continue to keep up with writing new music and that sort of thing. Recently, I've come back from after my ventures into piano and the computer. I've found myself at the acoustic guitar the same way I started.
It sounds like your parents were really instrumental getting you involved in music. Do you still do you perform with them, or do you guys sing around the house a lot? I mean, it sounds like you have a musical family.
This is a perfect question. Yeah, because the first song I believe that we're showing you guys tonight, called Major Arcana, is actually not a song I wrote. It's a song by my dad, and he sang it with us this past Friday at the venue Haven in Oakland. Crushed it. He did a great job. He wrote the song back in, I think, 2018, and it's about some pretty somber stuff that I could get into. It's a pretty interesting story, but I was messing with this chord progression. He was like, you mind if I lift that real quick? And I was like, sure, go ahead, take it off my hands. And he comes back with this song that I was touched by. I was amazed. I was like, this is some special stuff right here. You know what I mean? This is like one of your best songs. And I know all his songs, you know what I mean? I grew up on them. Years later, he says, hey, I'm playing with this country band around town, but I don't have a band that can execute this song the way I wish it would be done. Will you take it and let it live on through you? You know what I mean? Because otherwise nobody's gonna hear the tune. And I said, yeah, I'll rearrange it. I'll add in my own parts. I'll do all the stuff that I do. And so it became a co-write between he and I took his words and his melodies, and I put it on the album, and people love it. It's a pretty special song for that reason.
And I really appreciated the very opening of the song, and just the rhymes, Major Arcana, and medical marijuana. these are like two of my favorite subjects, and I just it just intrigued me and carried me along through that entire song. Why don't you talk to us a little bit about the process of building that track, and then we'll take a listen.
Yeah, the song is it's he as far as I'm aware, he wrote it to be a really deeply contrasting song. It was a really upbeat, cheerful song that he had it like with a Bowie harmony chorus with this like "Don't try to hold me," like a real theatrical sound.
Yeah.
And I kind of took that and I was like, I want it to be high energy, high power. I want people to dance to it. But the words are about a woman he knew back in the 90s in the South Side who died, I believe, from alcohol poisoning in this really tragic way. And it's an introspective song about his life and his role in that world and the way that he's passed it now. And the line, I've been waiting on my major arcana, in tarot, the major arcana are cards that represent this large scale happening outside of your personal life, like a wider scope happening. Meanwhile, the lesser ones are kind of like little intricacies, but if like death in your major arcana, that means in your tarot reading, a big change is coming to you. You know what I mean? Like this is the tower. You see the obstacle, and in his story, he's waiting to find this sign. You know what I mean? He's waiting to see this indicator, and it's not coming. He's getting the three of rods and stuff, and it's kind of ambiguous what's being communicated. And the song is about dealing with that and the pain of losing people. But I tried to put that into my little indie rock skin. You know what I mean? I tried to market that in a way that would get people singing along. And then I'd hand out my lyric booklets like I did on Friday, and they read what it's about, and they come to me and they say, your dad wrote this song. This is this hits you. This stabs you, And that's what it's meant to do. It's meant to hook you in and then hit you with some truth. And so when we recorded the first album here, all at my buddy Seamus's house. He's in the band. He plays guitar. We took over their house for a week, turned it into a studio, and I built it up track by track. Well, we started it live and then added some keyboards and percussion, and ended up with this kind of sparse-sounding, vocal-centric song. I wanted it to be about the performance, so it's one take. I just sang it once, and we got what we have. But yeah, I think it's pretty special for that reason, and
Oh, well, it's a great track. We love the contrast between the darker lyrics and the up-tempo melody and the way it's arranged. And I think it's time to give our listeners the opportunity to enjoy it as well. What do you think, Megan?
I think that is an incredible idea. So, ladies and gentlemen, without further ado, let's take a listen to Major Arcana.
Baby, I'm old, I don't need to be loved. I've got my son, I've got my drugs, and it's like I don't even wanna think of it. Man, I'm so lucky, yes I do believe I should be thankful, but I can't see. And it's like you don't recognize my face. Oh, I've been waiting on a major arcana. Tell me your medical marijuana. Don't try to hold me, please don't wait up for me. I cannot be yours, I cannot be trusted. We both know that it's
The country music world has hit a snooze button, and fans are growing a little weary. But fear not, because one artist is ready to shake things up. Enter Dan Sliker with his album, Sellouts and Train Tracks. This album is a joyride through the ever-changing landscape of country music. Packed with a delightful dose of humor and good vibes, it dives deep into what Dan believes the genre should truly embody. With Sellouts and Train Tracks, Dan isn't just serving up tunes, he's capturing a moment. He mixes laughter with introspection and shouts out to everyone wanting to steer country music back to its heartfelt storytelling roots. It's a musical mashup you won't want to miss. So don't let this chance slip by. Tune into the Country Music Revival by streaming Sellouts and Train Tracks by Dan Sliker today. Available on all your favorite streaming platforms. There you have it, folks. That was Major Arcana. I'm loving the vibes. I'm loving the music. Let's keep the conversation going.
I definitely hear those David Bowie influences in the way you sing the song, the falsetto. I love that you're kind of paying homage to some of the great classic artists that your parents exposed you to. Kudos to them. Why don't you tell us a little bit about who you're listening to these days and what you think of your influences are?
Well, let me tell you right now, I have my computer up. I want to pull up my playlist because I always have different stuff running. So I'm running through a country music phase right now. Actually, primarily thanks to John Bentley. He's a local songwriter. He hosts the Honky Tonk Jukebox over in Bloomfield and over in Lawrenceville at Spirit. And it's about the best time you can have in Pittsburgh. You go and line dance with your friends. It's perfect, you know. And I never appreciated country music like this. I've been listening to James Taylor a lot. I don't know if he's country. He's folk. He's country. You know, he's something.
Country folk. Yeah.
There you go. But you know, that's a writer if I ever saw one. So, but I've been listening to a lot of Spoon. I love Spoon. I've been listening to Jeff Buckley. That's my favorite, Jeff Buckley. I love the Strokes, and I actually got tired of the Strokes for a couple years because I've loved them since I was born. And then I'm getting back into them again. You know what I mean? After all this time, finally I'm back. But this is my most interesting musical observation I've made recently. There's a new guy running stuff these days named McGee, and he just came out with this album that he's calling his debut album. He's done albums before, but it's like 80s infused mixed with modern indie pop music in the most spectacular way. He's a great singer, great performer, but he's also this super virtuosic guitar player. And Eric Clapton has commended him for how reliable he is in his performances. He's amazing. He's like this mystery figure. The songwriting is on point. You know, he has these anthemic things, and people lose their minds over this guy. He has a really unique sound. And I watched an interview with him, and he was talking about his influences, and I was ready. You know, you often get disappointed when you find your favorite people's heroes. You're like, you know, I've never heard of these guys. They're crap. You go and listen to it. You're like, okay, whatever. But he goes, my main artist I was inspired by for this album was Bruce Springsteen. And I'm like, he was listening to Springsteen doing this. I didn't get it. I listened to Born to Run. I'm like, I'm not hearing any of this in here. They're polar opposites. You know, the guys are both from New Jersey. And then I listened to Born in the USA, and I listened particularly to the hit tracks from Born in the USA, and something clicked for me. And I was like, I'm on Fire has the same philosophy behind it that this guy McGee does, which is to take a perfect pop song, right? You know, like the skeleton of a pop song that's gonna make stuff happen, and you strip everything away from it that makes it anything more than the minimum of what it has to be, right? You know, think of I'm on Fire. It's just that those brush drums, you know what I'm saying? It's like a really laid back pad synth. There's not even a bass in the song. And then you've got a picked out kind of 80s sounding guitar. And, you know, you're listening to the song, you're getting into it. And he only gives you what you want at the very end of it. It's like a 2-minute, 30-second song. He gives you that, like the hook of the song that isn't the, oh, I'm on fire, or whatever. he gives you the rewarding kind of climax part in the last segment, and then he fades it out. He knows what he has. You know what I mean? And he's such a conscious songwriter for that. And when he does it live, his energy, he's backlit in red, and he's taking the microphone with this weird muscle tee. You know what I mean? What a weird thing when you think about it. And I'm born in a time where that's the past for me, and so I'm able to look at it with fresh eyes. I didn't hear it on the radio growing up. I'm really discovering this as I'm listening to it, and I go, this is a spectacular approach to making pop music. Presents it almost as a songwriting expo. You know what I mean? Where it was just amazing. Yeah, of course, Dancing in the Dark's a masterpiece of a song, in my opinion. But this guy McGee has been inspiring me, and when I get inspired by my favorite songwriters, I try to trace back to their roots, to where they got their ideas, and I try to see if I can find my own perspective, my own facet of that crystal from that same starting point, that same origin where it grows from. And I found that in Bruce Springsteen a lot recently. That's my point.
Well, I think it's a very good point, well taken. A lot of times songwriting is more like a sculptor who's like removing what's in the way of the essence of what is there. And, that's one of the things I appreciate about country music and myself. I've been writing more in like almost an Appalachian kind of style these days, very spare, and then building from there. And this might be a good lead into the next song that we're going to listen to, because this song has a fabulous build. It starts out very simply and starkly, and it becomes a dramatic story of a breakup. It's done. You don't even realize that at first, and there are little cues that are kind of masterfully woven in lyrically and sonically, give it away eventually, and it just hits you, and it's really wonderfully put together. Maybe you could share a little bit about this song for us.
Yeah, first of all, I appreciate your words. That's amazing. But second of all, when we came up with this song, we looked and we said, this is going to be our lead single, so to speak. We didn't put any singles out, but this would have been the lead single for the album. It has this really hooky chorus that explodes and then builds, and it builds and releases. It's dynamic. It's exciting, And what it does is it uses that arrangement, those arrangement tendencies I mentioned earlier from when I first started on GarageBand, and it pushes them to their limits, where you're utilizing the arrangement. And it's like you said, where you're stripping away layers of a big block of clay. Do everything you think of. You're just putting out a block of clay. Anybody could make that, just output. Output's great, but output that's cultivated makes something really exciting to me. And with this album, there was a lot of stuff I would have done better. Looking back, I'm not the best recording engineer in the world. My piece of gear is this right here, my Focusrite with 8 inputs. You know what I mean? And I did the album with that thing, and we had 5 drum mics. I was under-equipped, but I did what I could with what I had. I came away with this song, and here's a couple thoughts on it before we go into it. It's taken on a new life live, and I think anybody who's listening here who's seen the song live will be really excited listening to the recording, because you can see we started with the recording, and live now I start with this thing that's kind of become like a signature thing that I do, where I take my guitar and I just stack a bunch of different kinds of delay and reverb on it in this really specific way, where it's reverse reverb, so there's not a lot of attack on it, and it's this gentle, powerful build in, and then the main chords of the song start into that. I want this supporting bowl around the song, and the song exists within this churning storm of delay. It's like The Cure or something, you know what I mean? That's what you want it to be like, at least. And that's what happens live. And then when the chorus comes in, the air sucks out of the room and it comes up to that, building snare, and then cha 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 cha. It's exciting. It's thrilling. In the album version, that was a piano, and it was me just twinkling on my keys, and I had it to a chord note delay set in time with the song. and this is really particular. If people out there aren't interested in music production, they might not find it exciting. But if you're interested in songwriting, you might find it exciting, because that skeleton pushed me in a direction on the song where at first I thought of it as a different thing than it was. I didn't see it the way that it came out, because it was a co-write between me and my buddy Seamus, the guitar player I mentioned. He came in with these chords and I built a song around it. And when he came in with it, he had this idea of it feeling really lonely. And I don't think that's what I ended up with. I ended up with like an anthemic calling out. You know, it's almost more angry than it is lonely to me, and I like that. It's the narrative's there, and then there's the bridge, and the bridge is, you know, a moment that I really appreciate, and that songwriting branch led me a lot of places. But it all started with this idea of arrangement. It was based on the arrangement to start with. You know, where things sit and how they add together to take you on a journey to that, you know, exciting solo at the end where a lot of stuff is going on at once, but you feel like you earned it because it didn't start that way. All the melodies are happening at once that you've been introduced to the whole song. And, you know, you're thinking the chorus in your head because I just did it 50 times for you. And anyway, that's the idea with this song is we wanted it to present this mix of ideas in a way that was curated and ultimately exciting. We wanted it to be exciting and rewarding and still have that little bittersweet emotional scoop in it.
And I think you absolutely achieved that. And the ending in particular, I want our listeners to pay attention to, because I think it's like a microcosm of this entire relationship that you're discussing throughout the song. And I'm not going to give it away. I think we should let it play.
I think that's a great idea. So let's let it rip.
Hey, this is Craig Veltri cordially inviting you to the vinyl and video release party celebrating the limited vinyl release of Letters to the Defendant and the release of the music video for Biloxi on Sunday, March 30th at Steamworks Creative in Gibsonia, a Scarfire Media music showcase with special guests Megan Pennington and Lucky Us, doors and meet and greet at 6, music from 7 to 10, $10 at the door, BYOB. That's the Scarfire Media music showcase vinyl and video release party with Craig Veltri, Megan Pennington, and Lucky Us, Sunday, March 30th, 6 to 10 p.m. Be there, aloha.
There you have it, folks. That was White Lies. We have been hanging out with Gibson and chatting about music and all good things. Before we let you out the door and back on your way, and I'm sad to say it's already the end because I've been having so much fun, but before we end things, tell me, what can we find you doing in the future? Releases, shows, anything like that?
There's a lot going on. Most excitingly, I think next week we're starting work on our second album with local producer Jake Hanner, who's done a lot of really spectacular releases. He's worked with a lot of my local favorites. Meeting of Important People comes to mind. I think he did Andre Costello. I think he did Sunny Days and the Weathermen. He did a ton of different cool bands. And, we reached out to him and he wants to work on the next album with us, which is great. All the tunes are written for it. I don't know if I should, share the title or anything yet. It's not done, but it's cool. It's a story. It's a story album. It's about a character and his being split, caught in between two worlds, that sort of thing. And it's about the end times of America. It's about a lot of different things, and it's ironic, and it's filled with a lot of humor, which I like my songs to be. I guess these past two weren't very great examples, but I like to put, if you listen to Bovines on the Fence off of the first album, that song has a lot of humor in it. It's not really, it's kind of a light, sarcastic take on what it's talking about, which is victim mentality. But anyway, I'm sidetracking myself. In the future, coming up right, I think on this Sunday, on the 23rd at 1 p.m., right downtown at Market Square, they have this new music festival called The Thaw. I don't know if it's a music festival. It's a music thing, and there's a bunch of cool people happening there. I know the day prior, my buddy Zach Kime is playing down there. He's really cool. He's a great.
We love Zach. Oh yeah, he's our friend too. We love
him. Yeah.
He's been on the show. We did an interview with him about the new album release just a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah, I went to see his release show. He had me come up to sing a Pixies song, which was funny. But yeah, he's a good dude, and I'm excited to see him play. I think I'm probably going to go down and see that. But all kinds of cool stuff is happening downtown. We're right now working on scheduling a 6-day summer tour, which will be cool. It's our first time touring out of town, which is exciting. We did a show up in New York City one time, but this is going to be a real thing. We're doing a booking agent, that sort of thing. We're trying to, take a step up in our game, get out of the city a little bit, because we've been selling out some shows locally, which is great. I don't want to lose that fire, I feel like we might use it to its extent if we're not careful. So, I want to get out of the city, follow us on Instagram, PosterChildPGH, to keep up with that. The website has the songs, but it's not really as up to date as the Instagram page, which is the most current place to find all our information. The other ones are all over, and you can find when they're happening on Instagram. But the most exciting things are that we're working on a new album. It's going to have single releases. We're planning for, late summer type feels with that. And we actually we did all the drum tracking in advance over with my buddy Fletcher at Duquesne University, which was really cool because he let us do that work for free. And it saved a whole lot of time, and we got a lot of creative stuff done and picked our track list. And there's some of my best songs I've done thus far in my mind. It's lyrically, I really take a lot of focus on my lyrics, and I have a lot of passion for them, especially recently, more so than ever. And I think it's my strongest lyrical work. There's a lot of substantial storytelling. I've done a lot of editing on them, which I don't normally do, but I've made sure what I'm putting out is special and exciting, a little bit emotional at times, as it should be, you know. But yeah, this is my all-time favorite material I've done so far, and we have a couple leading songs in mind, which I believe one of them that we're going to listen to one of them in a minute here. Just a early version of it. You know, this isn't the official version. This one that I did for proof of concept, but I can, you know, prove the concept to you guys, and you'll maybe get it.
Well, it's a great sounding track. To me, it kind of reminds me of Joni Mitchell's collaborative work with Mingus. It has like some jazz inflection to it, and the way the textures are put together, it's really intriguing, and it seems like a departure from what you guys have been doing. Why don't you share a little bit more about Sweating It Out?
That song. I wanted it to. That's an interesting comparison, actually. That's fascinating. Yeah, I wanted it to feel like a 1980s pop song. Is what I wanted it to feel like. My big inspiration for it was "Take on Me" by Aha, which is, you know, funny. It's another one of those songs that's probably overplayed to most people. You know, I hear it and I go, this is big for a reason. There's a lot to this.
With that, ladies and gentlemen, I'd like to say thank you for tuning in for all things Firepitt and all things Scarfire Media. Check out the website, check out the catalog, check out Find a Venue, The Flame, Fire Ads. There's so many things. I just run my mouth every week trying to get you to check it out. Please check it out. We are here to help you get your music heard and to help you make some bank, because starving artists should not be a real thing. I tell you, we're going to take a listen to Sweating It Out. But as I walk you on out the door and to Scarpaces, I want to remind you guys to stay healthy, stay happy, and stay safe. But most importantly, folks, peace and love. We'll see you next Monday.